It takes a village to raise a child. Welcome to another episode of The Village Show with me, Chak the Sound Sangoma. This is episode 16. Thank you very much again for staying in tune with the shows. Thank you very much for subscribing. Today again, we have a very, very jam-packed show for you. On the video of the week, or the video we're going to be appreciating is NEY. NEY with a video called Ingwe. And on our music appreciation, we have Rhass, with the song called Babalaza. And then on the, topic of the week this week, I just feel like going on a rant a little bit, just ranting a little bit. It's not really a specific topic, but I'm just going to rant, I'm just going to vent out. You check what I mean? And then on What's the Hustle, we're talking about thrifting, getting clothes and reselling clothes and actually recycling clothes. There's actually a good thing about, the industry of thrifting clothes. On our Kasi Superhero, on the soccer, on the football mode, as the World Cup is going on, we're going to appreciate Mr. Kaizer Motaung. And then on the trailer watch, we have a horror movie called Good Madam. Without me speaking a lot, without me getting into it, you already know what it is, man. This is The Village Show, episode 16. Do the most and go and actually subscribe. You check what I mean? People all over the world, from Limpopo, all across to Cape Town. Thank you for watching The Village Show. Without further ado, as I said, the video we're going to be appreciating today is a NEY Ingwe, pretty dope music video, pretty dope song, pretty dope hip-hop song. You check what I mean? Let's watch the video.
It's that money making music. Go analyze on the job, Good, Gamine Guan. Intombe Yingozi, go stick to what? I sabook jello guac. Landed in the 011 from the 034. Back at 013, I was hungry. I was selling weaves on the streets for the cheese on my believe at booze. I was never gonna spot. Now I'm in a 10K weave, can I manage? Cook 35K, can I manage? Jololone, me na gang was. And Chipogani, me na gang was. I do it for the little girl up in Peter Marisburg, straight from the slums deep down in Mlas. Bang when I was good, now Uyawazi. Zima Bala Bala Ingwe. I'm a real one, make it fancy. Marang A1, no man getting S3, Sepa, Saras, Bayas. What's in it, Colonel Estrada? Ikasi local lessons. Umzati Wongu Yangazi. Gito Kotine Wasabi. Nina Anga. Shoot in any setting. I don't just talk, I flex. Never my villain, I'm a dad's blessing. First name present. Never wanna see my mom stressing. Bank deposits, jet setting. Razor cuffs and no stressing. If I no go wrong, I'm 10. No pando I would've never made it past fair. Mina get for the gig ain't if you my name. Front page Vogue magazine. In a meeting, no Jay-Z. Magic, God, good team. Go so my business. Folks, just study under 30. The flight chicken Africa, that's me.
For sure. That's NEY there with the song Ingwe featuring Given Zulu. Dope song, dope music video. You check what I mean? It was a surprise when this song got sent to me. You know what I mean? But that's actually a dope song. That's actually a dope song. You know what I mean? So please make sure that you go and engage with it on all their social media platforms, and make sure that you go and actually subscribe on a YouTube page. Like I said on the topic of the week, this week, I don't really have a topic. I just feel like going on a rant. A lot has been going on, a lot of things, has been going on. And I just feel like, I have to rant sometimes and vent out sometimes. Most of the time we try to be politically correct. We try to make sure that we send the message the best way that people can actually receive it without actually alienating a lot of people. But sometimes you gotta just step on people's toes, you check what I mean, to get the idea around. You check what I mean? So what I wanted to talk about is just support, support for our community, support for our friends, support for our creative, support of whatever it is that we need to support. I feel like there's a lot of talking without doing. You check what I mean? Don't get me wrong, there's people who do support, but I feel like a lot of communities don't really rise up, or a lot of communities don't become what they need to be because they lack in supporting each other or supporting people who are in the community who are trying to make things better. You check what I mean? So it tends to actually make people who really want to do certain things want to give up. People who are doing things for the community want to give up because there's this talk that everybody hears that whenever don't stay in the hood. When you make it, leave the hood and actually go make it. If we all live in the hood, that means the hood is gonna stay the same. And to be honest, I've really experienced this. I've actually really experienced, doing things for the community, but not really getting the support that you thought the community was gonna give you. Because you thought, the community will rally behind you and actually stand behind you. You check what I mean? So, for example, I've been throwing tournaments at home for the last 7 years. You check what I mean? And I will say for the last 6 years, I've been doing that from my pocket with no sponsor at all. The money that I work and the money that I hustle, I will actually put it together so that I can create a soccer tournament where the kids can actually express themselves. And then I started actually incorporating music and arts around it, where there would actually be a music festival and actually artists from the community can actually showcase their music. So for me, it was just showcasing the talent and having a day where the community can be together. A lot of people where I'm from are actually people who the whole year sometimes are actually working in cities like Joburg and Mpumalanga, so they don't really are not in their communities most of the time. So when December comes through, it's like catch-up time. And, we wanted to create this place where people can actually come and be together. But the most difficult thing about doing that is, it's going to get to a point where you really can't do it from your pocket, because the thing is we have to grow every year, and we've been growing. We've been introducing every step every year, for example, having trophies, having to reward all the players. But now, we got into a point where without having a sponsor, without having the community actually supporting the movement might not grow. It's going to just stay stagnant. You check what I mean? So with things like sponsors, there's been a few people who have pulled up and actually sponsored, But most of the time, the people who actually get into this, they always have personal gain. And there's nothing wrong with that. Business is business. If you feel like you're going to gain something, go for it. But at the end of the day, you need to realize and recognize the fact that you were given that opportunity to actually make that money. So at least some of that money needs to go back to actually making sure that the community is fine. You check what I mean? So that's all my cry. You check what I mean? To be like, there was a lot of people who are gaining financially from this happening, but those people are not actually giving back to that community. These people are not actually doing anything. They're not actually being proactive. We have community leaders, people who have been elected to be community leaders, who are not getting involved at all, who are not even visible when these things are happening. I'm an individual trying to bring the community together, and I just want help from people, community leaders, people who were elected in these positions to actually help, but these people are nowhere to be found. You check what I mean? We are out here fighting and trying to fight for certain things, but without the support of the people who have power, there's nothing we can do. When we propose ideas, these ideas are falling into deaf ears. They don't care about what they say. But whenever it has something to do with them or them gaining something, it's done promptly. They're passing laws that we're not, being consulted. But again, whenever we need it, we get called on. But whenever we need them, they are nowhere to be found. You check what I mean? So it's a problem. Sometimes it's maybe because of not knowing information or not having information. Like I told you, I've been doing these tournaments, not only me. There's a lot of people in our communities who single-handedly have been sponsoring and doing these tournaments. I personally have never heard that the government or the local government was involved. I've never had that. I've never heard that the local government actually sponsored a tournament or even just came and actually made the tournament or recognized the tournament as something official for the communities. I've never had that. But when it's time for them to actually want something from the community, they go to the same people, the same people that are not supporting. We don't have really good, fields like sports fields. We just need maybe, we're not saying we need AstroTurf or we need, stadiums. We just need maybe, for the machinery that's needed to clean it up a little bit so that it can be a little bit smooth. That too doesn't even happen. You check what I mean? So the same people that we actually waking up every day and thinking that they're going to be talking for us or hearing our cries, at certain points, they're not really getting there. You check what I mean? And like I said, it might be because of not knowing. It might be because of, not seeing the importance of it. But this is a big thing. You're getting individuals who in most of communities want to sacrifice and actually do things for communities. But there's a lot of things standing in our way. You check what I mean? For example, I have called and called and called so many places in the government, so many places in local government. I've spoken to councillors. I can say this. I have proof of this. You check what I mean? I've sent emails to different stakeholders, just asking for certain things, simple things. You check what I mean? I want to be able to go to schools and actually volunteer, and teach schools things like, making music, recording music, you check what I mean, composing, dance, film, podcasting, all of these things, and introduce it to the schools where I'm from because I know they're underprivileged. They don't have these things. But I can't do that without the support of the local government or even the educational system. I have called, the head of department or the MEC or the Minister of Education where I'm from, and the person I called, who the phone numbers were listed in the website, was no longer the person who was in charge of that. At least the person was willing to give me the number of the person who's now in charge, tried calling all the calls. I never got hold of the person, sent emails, with proposal down to the T of exactly what the plan is. You check what I mean? Just to get the go ahead and a little bit of support from the government so that we can be able to have these skills. You listen to people in parliament and you listen to people in higher position and they're talking about communities must start making their jobs, community must start developing skills. And you have people like me who are really listening and being like, okay, cool. We're going to sacrifice everything. We're going to leave Joburg and go to our rural areas and actually teach and actually share the skills that we have learned in the cities that we've been so that we can create a generation of people who have more skills like this. We can create radio presenters, we can create TV presenters, we can create news anchors, we can create people who know how to record, we can, create people who know how to write films, how to write stories, how to make music. You check what I mean? All of these creative fields, we are able to share the knowledge that we have, but we're not being given the capacity to be able to do that. You check what I mean? For example, one of the things that I said, where I'm from, this is cool. When I go home in December, I'm going to show you this. This is cool. That's now abandoned. There's nothing being done there. The building is there. We want to be able to adopt this building, make it a creative center, make it something that kids can actually come to after school, come and actually practice dancing. They can do movies, like I said, music, everything that's creative, we can actually nurture it from that building. All we want is a building, but every time when we send letters, either we're sending letters to the chiefs, either we're sending letters to the councillors, either we're sending letters to the local government, we're not getting any response back. You check what I mean? And we want to give back. We don't want to do this for any amount of money. We just want to be able to be supported, make sure that we have, because again, if we are creating these jobs, the people who are actually working then, the people who are actually teaching, deserve to be given something for them to be able to survive. You check what I mean? That's why we leave our communities to go and work somewhere else, because our communities can actually give us the money that we need if we're living in that community. We do need that money. So it's getting to a point where it's very, very tiring when you hear people speak this language, and you do what you have to do to actually help in that sense. But there's always all of these things standing in our way. As much as you can take this as a rant, you can take it as a cry too. Like, we're at a point where we're really, really getting tired. We're getting tired of always asking for the same things. We're getting tired of people who are not willing to see another avenue of people being able to be uplifted. We have a problem where we're from of teenage pregnancy. We can't not speak about that. Everybody want to sweep it under the rug as long as it's not their kid. And whenever it's their kid, they're just gonna say, yo, that's what happens. It's nowadays. It's not normal. We have to deal with it. Our girls in 37, for example, where I'm from, there's not even one activity. They don't even play sport. They're not getting stimulated any other way except going to school. They coming back home, there's nothing they're doing that's extracurricular. Not even football. They're not even playing football. They're not even getting supported. And this community, we want to be able to uplift women, but there's nothing at all the community is doing for women. There's nothing that you're doing for these little girls. At least the boys have a league, a soccer league, again, being run by an individual who's probably not even getting support from the government. At least they got that. But we need more of these activities, not because not all boys are going to be footballers. Not all girls are going to be footballers. Some of them want to be models. They need a place where that can be nurtured at a very, very young age. Some of them can be, news anchors. Some of them can be different things. We just want to expose them to those things at a young age and be able to be there for them so that we have a better generation. We're not fighting for us. We were failed. It's okay. We understand it. But we learned what we had to learn so that the next generation doesn't have to go through the same thing that we will go through. So we need to get to a point where if the leaders don't have the vision, if the leaders don't understand where we're trying to get to, just engage in conversation. All we want is just to be engaged in conversation and be able to show each other that we need this. We need this for our communities. We need things like computer centers in our communities. We need sports centers in our communities. We need entertainment centers in our communities. We need to keep our kids engaged at activities that makes them happy. That's why we're going to see a drop in kids drinking alcohol. We have that problem. We have a problem of young kids at school drinking alcohol, and nobody wants to say nothing about this. We talk about it in our own household and say, yeah, but why are we engaging this conversation as a public conversation? Why aren't our leaders making this a mission to talk about these things, to talk about these issues and actually deal with the problem? The problem is these kids are bored. There's nothing to do for them. They don't have any extracurricular activity. They don't even play sports. They don't even engage themselves in anything that's going to make them not want to be in the streets or, finding themselves wanting something to do and always doing bad things. And then we're going to blame them and say that the kids are the problem. No, we are the problem. We're not fighting hard enough for them. There's nothing they can do. We have the power, but we have given that power away. We feel like we've stripped of the power because we always want other people to do things for us. You check what I mean? Even if we're not engaging, we need to start to talk. We have the platform to talk. If you're watching this conversation, that's what this is all about. This is what this new generation is all about. Like, yo, we have a problem. You check what I mean? And every time, you just want us to create a perfect environment for all of these things to be emphasized. You check what I mean? It hurts me when I have to host the tournament and I see kids drinking alcohol because they see that as an opportunity to drink alcohol, and there's nobody or nothing or no one who's even raising that issue. I feel like I'm part of creating a problem. This is why this year I'm actually stepping back, because I need to really analyze this. What are we doing this for? Who are we trying to help? Because the same person that we're trying to help, the kids who are actually playing football, when they finish the tournament, they take the money and they go and drink alcohol, and you watch them drinking alcohol. You're not going to be a superstar if that's what you're doing. You're not really focused. You check what I mean? And I'm not saying if you want to drink alcohol, you can drink alcohol, but we need to be responsible too. We need to be able to have the responsibility of saying this is not the greatest things that we're doing. What else are we doing? We can celebrate, but we can't celebrate mediocre things. We can't celebrate mediocre things. Year after year, we're hosting tournaments, but there's not even one player that we're exporting or making sure that we can pay so that they can go to the trial. But these tournaments are actually having a lot of money. You check what I mean? But this money ends up where? It ends up in a bottle store somewhere. It ends up buying something that has nothing to do with the kids, nothing that's going to help any player who's playing there. It has to stop. Somebody has to speak about this. You check what I mean? You can do whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. I've been part of creating this environment, and I won't stop actually making gigs You check what I mean? But we need to get to a point where we still have these conversations that are serious. You check what I mean? Because it hurts. This is our younger brothers, this is our younger sisters. They don't have ambition. It hurts when you meet like a 12-year-old or an 8-year-old and you're like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they're like, hey, I don't even know, man. I just want to work. What is that? That means their dreams have already been broken. They don't see themselves, being something else. For how long are we going to be sitting around fireplaces, drinking alcohol and talking about, King Payo Wadoba goalkeeper Kaizer Chiefs? For how long are we going to say, Chiloma Kabutanga Wadoba Pirates? For how long are we going to say that? You check what I mean? And there's so much talent. For how long are we going to say Chiroma Razewa Wadoba Akadzi Olympics? How long are we going to say that? These are people who have talent and they're still the younger generation. We have to learn and evolve. You check what I mean? So that I just felt like I needed to speak a little bit about that because sometimes we disappoint ourselves. You check what I mean? Sometimes we disappoint ourselves and we always want to blame somebody else. If you're watching this and you're out there at home, ask yourself, what are you doing for your community to see your community be in a better place? Not for you. What are you doing for your community? You're going to point at fingers at people who are doing something because you feel like we have personal gain. We don't have personal gain. We just want to help. We just want to help the hood. We just want to make sure that if a kid at home wants to make a song, they don't have to drive kilometers and kilometers and get robbed. They can understand music. They can understand music law. They can make money. We want that girl to understand that she can be whatever she wants. She can be a model. She can be whatever she wants. She can be a soccer player, tennis player, whatever it is. She needs to be supported to be that. They need to see their dreams coming true. You know what I'm saying? And they can see the community is able to support us. Let's stop being hypocrites. You check what I mean? Let's stop being hypocrites. Let's stop being people who are just going to go on social media and actually talk about it. It's time for action. It's time for us to engage in conversations and make sure these things happen because our younger brothers and our younger sisters are suffering. Even us, we are suffering because of that. We need to change it. It's time we change it, and we need community involvement for this to change. We need leaders to be part of this for this to change. It's not a one-person struggle. You check what I mean? It's a whole community struggle. For us to be able to go out and actually have fun, we need to make sure that even our kids are taken care of. They have what they need. They've been stimulated mentally. You check what I mean? They've been stimulated career-wise. We're keeping them busy. They have dreams. They're eager to actually take over the world and actually change the world. You check what I mean? So again, I'm sorry if this actually touched people at the wrong time, or on the wrong side, but it is what it is, man. Sometimes you just have to step on people's toes for people to understand what the message is all about. Because sometimes when you bring the message in a very, very nice way, people don't even listen. You check what I mean? So we're going to start standing up. We're going to start making sure that we talk about these things. And we're going to be serious about these things. You check what I mean? Because these are serious things. People's kids, careers have been stopped. Kids just want to have babies because that's the only thing they see they can do. Young boys just want to not even have careers. They just want to do mundane work. They don't even think in a very genius way because they put in their environment and the environment is creating their thinking. And our leaders are just there looking for our votes. You know what I mean? But all I'm saying is, let's stand together. If the leaders don't feel like they can do it by themselves, we're here. Engage us. Hold our calls. Reply to our emails. Talk to us. We're willing to help. Whatever knowledge or information we have, we're willing to share so we can build. We don't want to be leaders. We don't want to be counselors. We don't want anything. We don't want no compensation. We just want to be able to play a part for our community. And please make sure all the resources that are there for that to happen are available for everybody equally. You check what I mean? All of those resources, please. Sponsor the people who are making these tournaments. Sponsor the people who want to make beauty pageants. Sponsor everything that you see the youth getting engaged and that's going to develop our place. You check what I mean? So that's all I just wanted to say. And I hope if you're watching this message, you're really going to resonate with it. You check what I mean? And I'm sorry for really going in and ranting like that, but I had to. It's episode 16. You check what I mean? This is the village show. Sometimes it takes a village to raise a child. So if we don't talk about these things, we might be, might as well be, disappointing ourselves. You check what I mean? So, that's the rant. So just to cool off a little bit. So that's the rant, just to cool off a little bit. I got a song for you while you go and actually get something to drink, just to think about what we just talked about. This is Rhass. The song is called Babalaza featuring Mr. Teller. Without me speaking a lot, let's get to it.
Hey, bekumnandi so. Awudiqelele uba anayine yokhwe. Sure. Hey, bekurongo so. Bendiqelele uba anayine yokhwe. Sure. Uzokwenza njani bra? I know. Zobethi manager. I know. Khona enye imithi engisifana nayo. Hey, ayizosifana. Foni kawenza idrata nqa yiphepha kanje. Uye kuthetha wenza izinto zibe easy. Kawenza idrata nqa yiphepha kanje. Uye kuthetha uthetha awube easy. Kawenza idrata nqa yiphepha kanje. Uye kuthetha wenza izinto zibe easy. Kawenza idrata nqa yiphepha kanje. Hey, let's see that dog. Shoot. Uye kuthetha wenza izinto zibe easy. Kawenza idrata nqa yiphepha likagqirha. Hey, tena baba.
Them gom songs right there, from Mr. Rhass. Thank you so much for the music. Please make sure that you go and engage with him on all of his social media platforms, and make sure that you subscribe to his YouTube page. Cool. So on What's the Hustle? On What's the Hustle this week, I want to talk about something that, I've been doing research on, and I found that it plays a very, very huge role in not only just in entrepreneurship and making sure that you can make money, but in protecting our universe and protecting Mother Nature. And that's thrifting. Thrifting is the, art of actually being able to go and actually rebuy clothes, especially quality clothes, old clothes that other people want to resell. You can buy those clothes and actually put them together and resell those clothes. Some people actually have a way of restoring the clothes, and that's a very, very good business. People are always going to need clothes, and most of the time we need quality clothes. If we have more quality clothes, we reduce our carbon footprint when it comes to the world, because fast fashion is actually killing the world. If you actually research fast fashion, you will realize there's a detrimental side of things, because we're throwing away so many clothes, and most of our clothes are made out of plastics and stuff like that. We're suffocating our universe. You check what I mean? So that's why we're having so much drastic weathers. So thrifting, like I said, is what my mother will say back in the day, Jumbo said. My mother is the queen of that. My mother for a long time used to do that. When I was young, it actually used to kind of sometimes irritate me. But now I really respect it. I respect my mom for it, because my mom, me and my sister always used to have exclusive clothes, because she was the queen of thrifting. She knew how to actually find quality clothes at these jumbo sales. She will be around, wide areas looking for these jumbo sales and actually buying these clothes, to a point where even I think there's a famous place in Norton, MTN, where young guys actually and ladies go and thrift there. My mom is one of the people who actually was the first people I know about MTN clothes when she was thrifting there. And I think these are clothes that are coming overseas, in containers. And these are clothes that might have ended up being thrown away, but these people are actually restoring and selling them. And they're selling them at a young price, or at a very, very low price. But that can make a lot of money. I know people who have stores where people go, because some of these garments, it's a one-on-one. You're not going to find another one because it's not being made no more. And you find like some very, very exclusive clothes that you can actually even resell for a higher price. I know a guy who actually goes and actually thrifts. He's very, very good at like sporting like, old labels that are coming back, and when you have that one-on-one Adidas that is not been made, and it gets restored, he's gonna sell it for a little bit of a higher price. That culture in Braamfontein, you have a lot of that culture, and I have a lot of friends who started by thrifting clothes, and reselling. The reason why I spoke about it is because it's not only just a good, financial, good way of actually making money. It's actually good for the environment, because we end up just recycling the clothes. You check what I mean? Making sure that if it's good quality clothes, they're gonna last. But what we're finding nowadays is most of the retail chains are actually selling fast fashion. A garment that you're not gonna put on for more than 5 times, because in today's generation is like, if you wear it once, you're not gonna wear it again. Which me, I'm from a different generation. I don't understand it, but we love good quality clothes that is gonna last me for a while. Because again, clothes are just there to make sure. Of course, I like looking good. Of course, I put it together, most of the time. But again, if you are not into exotic or diamond work in certain kind of like labels, you can do a little bit of thrifting, and you can make money from it and actually get some really, really dope clothes. Cool. And on our Kasi Superhero, this week, on the theme of the football and the FIFA World Cup in Qatar, we'd like to appreciate Mr. Kaizer Motaung. Mr. Kaizer Motaung is the owner and the founder of the team Kaizer Chiefs. Kaizer Chiefs is one of the biggest team in Africa, and probably the biggest team fan base wise in South Africa. Kaizer has opened opportunities for a lot of people in terms of like players, and making sure that families are being fed by these players and they're getting paid, and has been a stepping stone for other players to actually even reach higher heights. And Kaizer Chiefs is still one of that team that a lot of players will actually dream to play for, because of the legacy that they have, the history that they have, and that's because of Mr. Kaizer. So without saying a lot, there's a lot that Mr. Kaizer is doing from their development and young players who are going to the academy, to developing Naturena, to a lot of, players from your Dr. Kumalos, to now players who are playing now. It's a lot that they're doing, and actually there's a lot of families that are getting fed, from the opportunity that Kaizer is actually bringing through football. So I would like to appreciate Baba Kaizer and just take off my hat, and thank you for showing us the way. Thank you for showing us, like, for example, in South Africa, for, most PSL teams are black owned, which is very, very a good thing, because, it's our community, and most of the players, again, is players from our communities, so for people like Kaizer and other people too, people like Joe Mosono, they deserve to be mentioned. People like your Ivan Kaizer, they deserve to be mentioned. All of the people who are part of the football scene in South Africa, just taking my hat off and saying thank you for giving all of these young guys an opportunity, and making sure that there's families that are get fed from people just playing sports. Cool. And then on our trailer watch, we have a horror movie. I'm not really into horror movies. This was sent to me and I was like, okay, cool. I might watch the movie, I might not watch the movie, because I'm not really that person in the horror movie. But the trailer looks very, very interesting. This is kind of like something that, people have talked about, as one of those stories in the hood, or the stories in the streets. But yeah, without me talking a lot, let me play the trailer and then we'll talk about it.
Hello.
Kutsidi sisi.
Madam ulele phela cala masingangcola.
Ukudayena yena.
Udayena userumini yakhe ngumuntu ongaphilanga wethu.
Singahlala sisi.
Ebe ungahlala. Kodwa ke nawe uyazazi ba irules zalapha endlini sithini.
Awukwazi ubaleka. Awukwazi uzivulela ifridge. Awukwazi uziyela epolini. Oyona nto ebalulekileyo. Awukwazi noya erumini kaMadam. Kukho umoya omdala.
Yo hayi wethu uyalithanda uchuku.
Malweni. But i-family picture ndile.
Uthana uthandi lena.
It's not that umama akayithandi lena. Qha le ndlu sikibe ngathi ayimthandi umama. Sisebenza ntoni kumnyameni? Bebe sizovula ucango to. Awulokhoboka lakhe elmosi.
Ayikho elinye ikhaya ngaphandle kweli khaya.
Cool, that's good, madam there. So basically this is about a domestic worker who works for this mysterious madam, crazy things are happening in the house. You check what I mean? So like I said, I'm not really a horror movie kind of person, But the movie really, really looks interesting. Very, very well shot, Again, happy to see movies like this coming out of South Africa. Happy to see horror movies and different varieties kind of movies, and the inclusion of a lot of cultures and actually telling authentic stories in South Africa is actually growing. Again, thank you for watching episode 16 of The Village Show. If you're still watching up until this point, I got much love for you. I wish you a really, really great week. Sending some good energies and blessings your way. Please make sure that you share this. Please make sure that you subscribe. Please make sure that you comment below. Love from me, and The Village Show. Until next time, we out.